Hello and welcome back to my channel. Today I'll be going to explain to you a movie called Too Handsome to Handle, which came out in 2019. This is a comedy/drama movie. The movie's about Mas Kulin, an overly handsome boy who's always avoiding entering regular school and chooses to spend 100% of his time inside his house. One day, Kulin's handsomeness is exposed to the outside world when he agrees to attend high school, so his daily life becomes unusual, especially when he meets a girl who's immune to his charm. But before we start to beware of spoilers, I hope you enjoy the video. The film opens with the Mas family, who are a group of remarkably attractive individuals. Everyone had a unique charm of their own, the kind of charm that drives people crazy. Then we see Mas Okis, who is the eldest sibling of the family. He's a social media influencer due to his interest in awareness and fitness. His father, who in his adolescence was also an exceedingly striking boy who broke the hearts of more than 1,200 girls, but then he got married to their mother, who was also a gorgeous woman. She was so beautiful that her attractiveness prevented everyone from noticing the mustache that she had. Then finally, we met the main character of the movie, who was the youngest. His name's Mas Kulin. This attractive boy is always very cheerless and sad despite wielding such charisma. The family overall was very successful. The reason behind Kulin always being sad and gloomy was because he had no friends and could not have a normal life. Whenever he went outside, girls would start to chase him and go crazy, sometimes literally go crazy as they would have seizures after looking at him, meaning he was too handsome to handle. This was the reason he was homeschooled and had no social life or friends whatsoever. The only friend that he had was a pet fish, and he even talks to it, which is sad, but more about that later. His family noticed his reluctant behavior, which was certainly very bad for his mental health, so his family comes up with an idea to send him to any school that might help him get social. His family tells him that they're getting financially unstable as time is passing, so he should educate himself properly in order to have a bright future. Listening to this, he feels like he has no other choice, so he agrees on joining a proper school. Kulin tells them that he'll only be going to a boys-only school. After getting perfectly trapped in with his parents' plan, he goes to a school, but he keeps wearing his bicycle helmet. The helmet keeps his face hidden, but everyone keeps staring at him and kind of think of him as a creep. But then a bully named Sidi comes and tries to interact with Kulin, but the teacher walks in, so everyone goes back to their respective seats. The teacher looks at Kulin, she looks at the helmet, and wonders why he would put on such a stunt. She tells Kulin to take off the helmet, and the rest of the class keeps staring at him, as they're also curious what Kulin actually looks like. He has no other option left, so he takes his helmet off. The scene instantly cuts to the teacher being escorted outside of the school and into a hospital as she fainted because of his appeal. Kulin instantly runs from the scene, and again, he wears his helmet. Then Sidi and his gang approach Kulin. Sidi asks him a favor. He says that there's a girls' high school right next to them, and he wanted Kulin to go there and ask a girl named Amanda to go to prom with Sidi. According to Sidi, she was the most attractive girl in the girls' high school. Sidi was repeating his class for the third time, which is why he'd be able to go to the prom with her. He tells Kulin that a well-mannered kid named Kibo will go with him to invite Amanda. Then both of them go inside Amanda's school, which is called BBM, and its full name was Brains Beauty Manor High School for Girls. The girls were there very elegant. They were so intellectual that they smelled the scent of boys as they entered the school, so the girls approached them and asked them to justify their presence in their school. Things get heated, and they yell at Kulin and Kibo and tell them to leave their school immediately. But they get very curious after looking at Kulin's helmet. To kill their curiosity, they ask him to take the helmet off, and he refuses at first, but has no other choice when the girls insist. He takes off his helmet as bright light discharges out of his face and shines. Then the scene is cut to a news where the headlines say that several girls in high school went crazy over a boy's allure. Some of the girls start to have nosebleeds, some of them are fainting, and some of them are having seizures and strokes, while some of them are even getting possessed. The entire city, including Amanda, finds out the beauty was hidden behind the helmet. Amanda sees the news and she feels like she was finally found a commendable challenger who is equally as attractive as she is. Many girls start to gather around his house and try to get inside. Somehow, meet Kulin. His family starts to charge those girls. He starts to feel very betrayed when he realized that his family did this to him and that they're not getting financially unstable at all. He calls to his family and lays emphasis on the fact that he feels betrayed by them and that he wants to leave them forever. He informs them that he's leaving and that he'll never set foot back home again. Kulin gets very distressed, and he starts to wander on the streets. He sees a girl who sits right in front of him and shows him no reaction after looking at him while he's not wearing the helmet. She silently gets up and leaves without going crazy. He feels something he's never felt before. His heart starts to pump faster. He feels something normal. For the first time, he feels normal when a girl ignores him and doesn't go crazy. After some time, he meets Kibo, and both decide that Kulin moves in with Kibo. When Kulin moves in, he finds everything in Kibo's room very interesting. After moving in with Kibo, he finds that he has a lot in common with him, and both of them develop a good friendship. The next day, both Kibo and Kulin go to Amanda's school and give her the invitation from Sidi. Amanda pretends that she doesn't care about some handsome Kulin, but when they leave, her nose starts to bleed. This meant that she also found him attractive and handsome, but she did not want to act like all those other girls who go crazy over him. After a couple of days, Kulin and Kibo go to a small shop. Kulin sees the same girl who was not affected by his beauty, the girl that went away and left his heart beating faster than ever. Kibo then introduces Kulin to that girl, and he tells her that she works in the shop. Things take a turn when Kibo tells him that he likes this girl. He says that her name is Riri and that they know each other. Later on, Kulin gets very perplexed as to what he should do now. He was clueless as how he should impress Riri, now that he knows that his close friend likes her. He's left with no choice but to call his brother and ask for advice as what to do with the situation. They plan on meeting somewhere. Then he meets his brother and enlightens him about the situation and asks him what he should do. Okus gets very happy that his little brother is finally taking interest in girls and that he's asking him for help too. While both of them converse, their parents hide and listen to them as they've not seen Kulin in a very long time. Okus gives him a few ideas on what they should do. He meets with Riri and does all the things that his brother told him to do. He had high hopes, but none of them worked on her. After some time, Amanda approaches Kulin in his school and invites him to her birthday party. She also gives him an expensive phone. Later that night, Kibo, Riri, and Kulin go out for karaoke. Kulin notices that Riri just keeps looking at Kibo. He figures out that Riri also likes Kibo, which breaks his heart because that was the only one thing that felt normal to him in his entire life. But he calls Amanda and asks for a favor. He asks her to kiss Kibo, and she agrees to it, without asking any sort of questions, too. When they go to the party, Amanda kisses Kibo. Riri witnesses this, and she runs away. Kulin sees this as a perfect opportunity and goes to Riri in order to comfort her. While talking to her, he confesses his love for her, but she instantly rejects him by saying that she does not like him. Kulin gets rejected and ruins a perfect friendship with Kibo over a girl. Sidi also sees Kibo kissing Amanda, so he starts to beat him in the parking lot. Kulin comes in, saves him, then takes him to his home where his mother treats his injuries. Kulin confesses and says that he caused all of this. Kibo's disappointment was immeasurable, and his day was ruined. He tells Kulin to get out of his home. Kulin goes back to his house, and his family happily accepts him. But he feels very bad, so he goes back to Kibo's home to make things right with him, as he was his only friend. Kibo makes a whole speech on how he loved Riri, but Kulin ruined it. But it is revealed that Kulin had called Riri before all of this, and she listened to Kibo's speech. Then, at prom night, Kibo is with Riri and Kulin is with Amanda. Looking at this, Sidi gets very mad, but other students drag him away. Kulin and Amanda get sashes for being the best couple. A girl in the crowd says that she does not find Kulin attractive, and it gets him the same feelings that he had when he first met Riri. Here, the movie ends. To watch more explanations of these kinds of movies, click on the videos on your screen. And don't forget to let me know how you feel about today's video in the comments down below. Kindly like the video and subscribe to my channel and press the bell icon so you don't miss any of the new videos. And at last, I'll say stay safe, stay well. Thanks for watching.